On a stormy winter night when the streets were empty and the wind howled through the narrow alleys, a young woman named Sarah was hurrying home from work when suddenly she heard a faint cry echoing from behind an abandoned building. And though fear gripped her heart, she could not ignore the desperate sound, so she followed it until she found a newborn baby wrapped in a torn blanket, left shivering on the cold ground. Her hands trembled as she picked up the fragile child and whispered softly, "You are safe now," before rushing to the nearest hospital, where doctors told her that if she had arrived a few minutes later, the baby might not have survived. Sarah sat beside the crib all night, unable to leave because the child's innocent face stirred something deep in her heart. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah visited the baby often, until one afternoon she overheard the nurses mention that the child's father, Jacob, had abandoned him out of despair after his young wife died during childbirth. Hearing his name, Sarah froze because Jacob was not just any man, but someone she once knew well years ago in school when they shared dreams of changing the world before life pushed them onto different paths. She remembered how Jacob was always full of energy and hope, but she also remembered the gossip in town that after losing his wife, he had turned bitter, hopeless, and reckless. At first, Sarah was furious and thought, how could he abandon his own child? But then she looked at the baby's tiny hands and realized none of this was the child's fault. The following week, Jacob returned to the hospital looking thin and broken. His eyes filled with shame as he asked to see his son. Sarah stood in the hallway watching, torn between anger and compassion. When the baby reached out to Jacob with a smile, Sarah's heart softened, but she still said firmly, "Jacob, you may be his father by blood, but a real father is proven by actions, not excuses." Jacob broke down in tears, admitting that grief had blinded him and that he wanted to change if only given a chance. For days, Sarah wrestled with her feelings. Part of her wanted to protect the baby alone, but another part remembered her late mother's words, "Forgiveness heals what anger destroys." Slowly, she allowed Jacob to visit under her watch, and to her surprise, she saw him begin to transform. He found work, started saving money, and spent every spare moment caring for his child. The townspeople who once called him a failure began to whisper in awe that Jacob was becoming a new man. One evening, Sarah found herself watching father and son play together, laughter echoing through the small hospital room, and tears welled in her eyes because for the first time, she saw not the broken boy she once knew, but a man fighting hard to be worthy of his child. Months later, Jacob asked Sarah why she had not given up on him like everyone else, and she replied quietly, because kindness never fails, and forgiveness gives people a second chance to rewrite their story. That night, Jacob promised her, "I will never waste this chance again." Years passed, and Jacob raised his son with love and discipline, while Sarah remained a guiding light in their lives. Together, they turned a story of tragedy into a story of hope, inspiring other families in the town to believe that no matter how dark the night, forgiveness and kindness can always bring a new dawn. The boy grew up knowing he had been saved twice, once by Sarah's courage and once by Jacob's decision to rise again. The moral of the story is simple but powerful. Life will give you moments when anger feels easier than mercy, but true strength lies in choosing kindness, because kindness has the power to heal wounds, rebuild families, and turn despair into hope. Never underestimate forgiveness, because while anger chains the heart, forgiveness sets it free and proves again and again that kindness never fails.